It sounds like we've got it all together and got it all worked out, but business is not like that. And behind the scenes, it's challenging. Running a business, I think, for anyone, like we said, like getting punched in the face every single day repeatedly. It takes courage. That's one of the things I'm really kind of working, like processing at the moment, is to run a business. You got to be courageous, and sometimes that courage looks like really hard conversations or really hard decisions to make. So that was a really challenging time to work through. Numbers are funny, so take it with a grain of salt. But in our first year of business, we made just over $1 million profit. In our second year of business, we lost about $1.3 million. I think on our first 8 jobs, we lost an average of $50,000. We flew close to the sun there. Oh my goodness, that was a very stressful time.
What is success to you?
I think it was a learn to love it experience.
And there's always pitfalls that you can fall in, but then you've got no one else to blame but yourself.
Number one thing if you're struggling is to catch up with people about it.
This episode is brought to you by Forte, specialist in refined timber surfaces for inside and out. From elegant flooring and paneling to durable cladding and decking, Forte delivers unparalleled performance where it matters most. Their products are crafted to elevate every space, combining natural beauty with technical precision and enduring design with innovation. Discover more at forte.co.nz. Caleb, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. We've just been chatting about the younger industry. You're obviously 36, right?
Yep.
So you're a little bit younger, and I feel like the younger industry, the younger builders in the industry are a lot better at sharing information, being happy to come together, talk about their companies, talking about what they're struggling with, probably more so than the older generation, right?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely see a community of builders that's growing. I think the mindset of sharing and walking through the journey of building together is definitely increasing. I think community in general, people are pretty starved for it. That's definitely one of the social trends that's happening right now. But through COVID, COVID was really hard for builders, as we know, and I think it put a lot of pressure on builders' mental health. So because of that, I think the idea of especially the younger builders coming together, I just think there's good things happening there.
Yeah, because you set up your own group, you mentioned, with a bunch of builders. What made you want to do that?
Just community, mate. I think, like I said, people are starved for it. And I think there's a lot of, building is such a complex game to be in. And that's one thing I find fascinating, is everyone has different models they run and different systems and processes, whatever. No one's got it worked out, but we can definitely learn a lot from each other. And then even simple things like if someone's chasing a waterproof or a tiler, or if someone's got a bunch of fill that they need to get rid of. But I just learned so much from chatting with other builders and connecting with them and hearing how they run clients through the journey, or, how they run their building systems, or.
Yeah. You can only build so many homes a year, right? You can't build like 2,000 homes a year. So it's kind of like.
Some builders do.
Yeah, some builders do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, most custom builders, like residential, they just a few builds a year, whatever it is. Some build 3, some build 10, but you can't go beyond that. And so
I'm actually interested to see where it caps out.
Yeah,
like that's one thing of my part of my vision is to scale custom building. And from what I've seen in the market in Brisbane, it tends to cap out around 25 to 30 homes a year for a branded professional custom builder. The bulk of the market seems to sit around 5 or 10 at kind of max.
Yeah. It'd be interesting, eh? I mean, to what extent and how custom it will be, and what the average project value is.
That's right.
It's all going to come into play, whether you can do that many. But I want to rewind a little bit. I want to go back a little bit to like maybe who was Caleb as a young kid? Where did you grow up? What was the vibe?
Yeah, so I grew up in Brisbane. Went to a private school on the south side of Brizzy. Always had a kind of vision and a desire to build my own thing. I wanted to build something of significance from a pretty young age. I can remember business was my favourite subject in high school. It was about grade 9 or 10. I was kind of mucking around with my mates and just being a silly teenager. And my business teacher pulled me aside and he told me that if you don't sort out kind of your attitude and behaviours and all of that, you're never going to get to your full potential. But if you focus and pull your head in and get your life straight, then you can do something significant. So pretty much from that age, I just wanted to do something special in business. So went through high school, got into university. I was a business guy through and through. Yeah. I'd never had dreams of being a builder. And I went and worked for a large multinational consulting company. So I did that for about 4 years and then became disillusioned with large corporate businesses. And I had the opportunity at the time, I met the CEO of Queensland's largest builder just by chance. He was someone that my dad knew. I was living in Brisbane and he was talking about launching their operations down in Victoria. And I just got to know him and he took a liking to me and within a week we'd agreed that I would go down to Victoria and start their operations.
Wow.
So I was 26 at the time, didn't know anything about building, didn't know anything about property development or anything like that. And he'd set me up down there with a phone and a laptop and said, have a go. So we had the systems from Brisbane, but there was no operations at all down there. So first year we built 3 homes. Second year we built 20. Third year we built 120. By the time I left there, we were building about 350 homes a year.
Wow.
I had a full team of supervisors and estimators and all of that.
What a great university to go through, in terms of how to run a building business.
Yeah, and that's what I think about. My apprenticeship wasn't on site. My apprenticeship was on the business side of building and operations and systems and how to scale, how to build team, and how to scale the systems behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest things you learn? Because I mean, there's probably a lot, but to from a big company to running what probably considered to be a smaller company now, what did you learn from that in terms of how they ran their business?
Yeah, so definitely heaps of learnings. I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 26, having a crack. Definitely team is everything. Like you can't do anything without a team. But systems and processes is everything for me. That's the only way that we scale and have any sense of sanity. And volume building is amazing for systems. There's obviously challenges that around volume building, but it's got a great place in the market for people that can't afford custom building. But systems are everything. So the way that I look at it, if there's challenges in our business, things that happen, I'm not looking at it as a symptom. I'm looking at it as where's the system broken down and what can we do to fix that? And that's applicable to every part of the business. There's some type of system that's not quite right that we're going to need to tweak and get right. Yeah.
That's cool, eh? So, and then how long did you work there for before you moved on? And did you go from there to starting your own business?
So I was there for about 8 years. And like I said, by the time I left, it was quite a large business, but I had always wanted to do my own thing. Just probably lacked a bit of courage and a bit of confidence that I could actually do it. But my CEO was an amazing leader. He was had a real impact on my kind of growth journey, and he could see that I was becoming a bit disillusioned with it all. And being the big leader that he was, he encouraged me that it's, do you think it's time for you to step out?
Right. So he had the conversation with you. And he could kind of see the writing on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. And he could see I'd never really be fulfilled unless I gave it a crack. So I was 32 by this time. And just the stars had aligned and I was ready to move back to Brisbane. My family and everything, it was time to come home. It was good timing. So this was early 2020. Yeah. I started the business on 1st of March 2020 and 15 days later, all of Australia shut down with COVID. So at that time I thought, oh shit, like what have I done?
And now do you have family? Like you have a wife and
Yeah.
kids or anything at that point?
Yeah. I've got one wife and 4 kids.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
just
Full on.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So at that time, I had 2 kids and one on the way. Again, timing. Just give it a crack and see what happens. But yeah, we started the business 15th of March. Just like all of Australia shut down with COVID. I was freaking out a bit at the time, but I had some good people around me that kind of encouraged me that if you can get through this, you can get through anything. And just kept going at it and got the business going.
Wow. So when you came here, you started your own thing. You obviously got children. Like, how did you dig into your savings at that point? Do you have a few projects lined up?
Yeah, I did it a bit different. I had I set myself aside $120,000, and at the time I didn't really think I could do business. Like I was just definitely lacked confidence, but I just knew if I didn't do it now, then I'm never going to do it. So I set myself aside $120,000, and it's a really good principle that I tell people that are considering this. And it comes back to what do you actually have to lose. So with $120,000, I was going to pay myself a wage of $70,000, and I had $50,000 to grow the business. So I worked out I can pay myself $70,000 for 12 months, and I've used that $50,000 to invest in the business. And essentially, I've got a 12-month runway. And if at the end of 12 months I don't have any money left, that's fine. I can go get a job. It'll all be fine. So yeah, about 2 or 3 months into it, I won a small job, and it made me $30,000. So with that $30,000, I essentially just extended my runway. So I had another 15 months to see if I could do it, and just slowly kept having a crack at it, and kept having some wins and challenges and whatever. And then through that process, eventually the runway wasn't a thing anymore, because the business was becoming successful. Yeah.
And you were so you weren't on the tools, right? So you were from day one you wanted to be a builder, but you wanted to build a team. I think that's an advantage, because that's like the one tricky thing with builders. They start on the tools and removing themselves from it and putting a team under them is like a real stumbling block. So the fact that you were in that you started there, obviously you had your other challenges, but I think that's such a good thing, because from day one you sort of saw it as a business and not as a you and a bunch of helpers.
Yeah, I've always seen that as kind of my biggest asset as a builder. But it's also the biggest challenge that I face, that I don't come from a construction background. And now I've been in the game for 12 years, I guess. So I've developed construction knowledge.
Yeah.
But the team that I have know far more about actual construction than I do, for sure. And that's been amazing, because it means I'm not pulled down into the technical construction challenges.
Yeah.
But the flip side of it is I've had to surround myself with very smart people and trust them that they know their stuff on certain topics.
Yeah.
But it has enabled me to focus on the business side. And I've always seen that, like, if I know the most about a certain topic, then that's going to hold me back. If I know more than my team about the different topics, I need to surround myself with people that are much smarter than me. And that principle, I think, has helped us scale pretty quickly.
Yeah. So who were your first hires? So you got a first job, or do you use like a estimator to kind of price it up? Do you price it up yourself? Like how did that all start?
Yeah, I mean, I know estimating and pricing and how to win a job and how to put contracts together and all of that stuff. I know how to do that stuff. But my first hire, at the start, I didn't have a building license. Again, another problem that people face. So I buddied up with a guy who runs a great building company and asked him to come on board and help me build Pilgrim, which he came on board, and the first 18 months we were using his license, and he was the supervisor. I was running things in the office. We had sold, I think, 7 homes before we'd built a home, which that's a lesson in marketing, I guess. So first 12 months was first 18 months was him supervising, and then in time we hired office team, put an estimator on, we put an admin person on to help with certification and documentation. And I just kept focusing on selling, building the systems in the business, and getting the right software in place and all of that.
Yeah. You mentioned before that like you sort of saw brand building and marketing as a very important component. Talk to me about that. I see, I looked at your Instagram, you got like 10,000 followers. You've done a great job at building that up.
Yep.
Good job.
Thank you.
What was your thoughts around that from the get?
Yeah, I think brand and marketing can really cut through the messiness of clients from the outside trying to look at which builder to choose or look at builders overall. So I've always seen branding and marketing as really important. I think people will align with a brand or be inspired by a brand, and they see it as something that they want to be a part of. So right from the start, we've been focused on brand, and that's how, based on that, it was how we were able to sell those homes before we'd even built any. And I think a powerful brand can help you gain momentum much faster than what your actual operations or track record are. It takes you further than what you can without a powerful brand. So I think focusing on that, it's been really helpful for us, and we're definitely going to continue to have a powerful brand in the market.
Yeah. So how did you guys sign up to 7 projects before you even started building them? Was it you guys run advertising, or was it just purely social? What did you guys do?
Initially, we kicked off through. I was working with some developers, so we went and networked with a whole bunch of different developers, and we had the brand created, had a whole bunch of renders and floor plans, and just went out there and just pounded the pavement, referrals, and got to know a whole bunch of people and just kept at it. And then eventually we built the relationships and got some people on board. The other thing is, in early days, I was pricing us very cost effectively compared to competitors. Right. So one of the principles I talk about is momentum over margin in the early days. As long as you've got enough capital to protect you through that and you're not making a loss, you don't need to make $1 million in your first year. So get your brand out there and have an impact on the market quickly through pricing sharply and marketing yourself well. That was a principle that we worked off, and we've been building houses for just over 4 years, and we've built nearly 50 custom homes. Wow. So I think that the principles work for us. Yeah.
How important is like momentum in business?
Huge. And the other thing is the perception of momentum, which is the marketing side of it.
Yes.
So one of the principles I work off is people partner with momentum. So from the outside, if your business looks like it has no momentum, and there's nothing exciting is happening, who's going to want to be a part of that? Whether it's attracting good staff or attracting good clients or good trades or whatever the topic is. But people are inspired by momentum.
I think that's huge, and perceived momentum. You're so right, It's kind of a weird human nature. It's like walking past a restaurant that's full. You just want to go in there, or versus a restaurant that's empty.
Yeah.
It's if you could show that like things are happening, it's exciting, people want to partner with that.
Yeah, and there's so many tools out there now, so many different platforms to create ways to communicate with the market and create that momentum. And people want to be part of something exciting, and they want to be inspired by something. So I think it's important to invest in it.
What sort of, if people are going, okay, cool, I need a brand. My logo looks like we're an excavation company or something like that, or but we want to fix up our brand, present ourselves better. Like what advice do you have people like that's thinking around, turning that around, presenting themselves a bit better? What are the first steps they should take, you reckon?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. When we first started building, our average contract value was like $700,000 to $800,000. We were hitting that market quite well. We were probably doing 5 or 6 a year at that point.
Yeah. Were those new builds or renovations?
All new builds. We only do new builds. Yeah.
Okay.
And during that time, I was becoming a bit frustrated at that market, which was, let's say, the $600,000 to $800,000 new build market. What I found is that the clients in that market essentially want champagne on a beer budget. Expectations are ridiculous. They don't want to go with a volume builder, but they probably don't have enough money to build a really nice home. So at that point, I was like, stuff this, we're going after the luxury market. And this was about 18 months ago. And I went and completely redid our brand again. So I changed it just from Pilgrim to Pilgrim Luxury Homes, did a new website, made the brand, worked with a guy who had a good track record of designing really nice brands that cut through. Rebranded us to Pilgrim Luxury Homes. This is 18 months ago. Now our average contract value is about $1.6 million. Again, the power of marketing. Had we built $1.6 to $2.5 million homes before? No, we hadn't. But by elevating the brand and focusing on that, we were able to reposition ourselves.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, the first thing to ask is, what market are you wanting to hit? And sometimes a budget-looking brand is perfect for a certain market. Or if you're hitting a luxury brand, then every touch point that someone sees externally of the business, it needs to reflect that luxury, refined. That's the space you're in. Working with a mate at the moment who runs a renovation company, he's in a similar spot where he's trying to elevate his brand. So his current colours are blue, and it's just not where it needs to be. So I'm like, all right, we're going to change all of that to black. It's going to be black and white, and the fonts are going to change, and all of the images on your website. You're not putting stuff on social media anymore that doesn't reflect that brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit practical, but hopefully it's helpful.
No, I think it's good, and you got to have your ideal client in mind, right? Yep. Reverse engineer it based on your ideal client, I think, is exactly what you did. That's awesome. So talk to me about Pilgrim. What is the structure of the business at the moment? Who's in it?
Yep.
What's the size of your team? And give me a bit of a rundown on that.
Yeah, cool. So I operate as the general manager. Underneath me, I've got a construction manager. I've got two foreman supervisors. That's the construction team. And then in the office, I have an estimator and I have an accounts administrator. And then we've also got an estimator offshore.
Okay.
So that's we run a pretty lean team for our size, but that's intentional. I had carpenters on the team. Until about 3 months ago, we had a team of 8 carpenters. Four carpenters, 4 apprentices. But as we were scaling, it became quite difficult to run that carpentry team profitably. So we were working through the numbers. We had the carpentry team for 18 months, and as we were working through the numbers, it became pretty clear that it doesn't make sense to scale with a carpentry team internally. So went through a process of moving the carpenters on to other great building companies, and just focusing on putting the carpenters external to the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're looking at scaling. Yeah, that's probably a better way of doing it. And you mentioned that you have one of your estimators offshore. Is that are they based, where are they based, like in the Philippines?
Based in the Philippines, yeah. Yep.
And how do you sort of structure that? I mean, obviously that's a major cost-saving exercise.
Huge,
but
yeah.
Which elements does the VA or the estimator in the Philippines, which tasks do they do as opposed to the one onshore?
Yeah, so it's just all takeoffs. It's some of the more basic estimating work. So it's takeoffs, quote requests, checking plans, checking specifications. We recruited the offshore resource directly. We haven't gone through an agency. Just put an ad on the Filipino equivalent of Seek or So from that, we had probably 800 applicants. And whittled it down. They've heaps of resources over there have Australian experience, really relevant. They're very qualified.
Yeah.
So I think we pay our offshore resource about $10 to $15 an hour. Significantly more cost effective, and it's just a great asset to the team.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a really good salary on that end. Really good salary on that end. Awesome. Okay, so and you're the general manager. You look after the team. How do you guys get most of your work now coming through the doors? Is it through architects, through clients direct? Do you market, word of mouth?
Yeah, we've worked with architects. Again, it's been challenging to there's 4 or 5 great architects we've worked with, designed beautiful homes. The challenge we've found with working with multiple architects is the plan detail and the additional costs that are incurred building these homes when all of the details may not be there. So because of that, we've now focused a bit more heavily on running our own internal design and construct process. So that our client, we find our clients through either referrals or just running our own ads. And that seems to be working quite well. We've got a budget that we put towards it, and we're always cycling through different ad creative.
Yeah.
And
what sort of advertising do you guys run?
It's predominantly just social media.
Yeah.
And then search engine Google.
And do you send? Is it just like inquire, booking a consultation, or is it more like do you guys have like pre-drawn up plans or like?
Yeah, so at this stage, it's not kind of right, not at the scale that I wanted or sophisticated as far as you can go, as you know, running an agency. But it's pretty simple ads that we're running on Meta, and it's a design and construct process. So it's build a custom luxury home, inquire today, book an appointment, something like that.
Yeah.
I've found it interesting trying different creative, and I don't know. You can probably talk to this a bit, but just there's some stuff that hits and some stuff that doesn't.
Yeah.
And making sure you're always cycling through different creative. Where I haven't gone to yet is the likes of lead magnets and kind of trying different campaigns or really different messaging on strategic topics.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, like it's. I think the construction industry is very elementary still in that lead generation and advertising space. Only because builders haven't needed to advertise for the last 30 years. This has been pretty much like it's been a 30-year boom with a few downturns. So builders, there's always been work. And I think we're coming into a place now where builders, it's a lot more competitive.
It's becoming more competitive, I reckon.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I first came to Brisbane, part of the vision for Pilgrim was I was in Melbourne, amazing design there, inspiring design, came here, moved back to Brisbane and was disappointed by the level of design. This was 2020, but over the last 3 or 4 years, it has come so far. And as a result, I feel like there's heaps more builders that are starting, which is amazing. But it's becoming more competitive, I think.
Yeah. Because I guess 20, 30 years ago, you could build and then, you're building and then the other guy that's been around for years, he had quite a big advantage on you because they've seen his signs around. It was all word of mouth and that was it.
True.
But now a new guy can just come in with really good advertising, could, seem on par with the guy that's done it for 20 years.
Yeah, totally.
And so, but like you said before, and I had this conversation on a podcast recently actually around, it's getting more competitive and through AI and everything like that, it's going to be, knowledge becomes more and more commoditized, the skill set around how to run an ad on Meta or Google is going to be completely commoditized very soon. So very soon, me and you will be able to jump on Meta, say, cool, here's my company URL, a couple of bullet points and say, hey, set up a whole marketing campaign. This is the objective and here are the type of people that we want. And it will just create it for you. So that's going to be completely commoditized. So what that means is it comes back to your point earlier where the power is going to be in the brand because any man and his dog can run very successful, very optimized ads, but it's going to be the brand that's the thing that can't be commoditized. So
what do you think a powerful brand is?
I think a powerful brand is something that as a brand that makes you I feel a powerful brand is a brand that's super unique and quirky and like a little bit offbeat, and that makes you feel something. And even as I'm saying that right now, I have like kind of shivers because it needs to touch you on a deeper emotive level.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's why I always encourage builders to, when they build their brand, because when it comes to making someone feel something, you can either make them laugh, cry, or be angry, essentially, are the most powerful ones.
Sure.
And so, you have a lot of brands that make people laugh. They're really funny, but making people laugh is a really hard emotion to get out. Like, it's actually hard to make people laugh because if you're, say, a home builder, it can quickly turn into like cringe, or some people have different sense of humor. So it's a very hard one to kind of nail.
Yep.
And that's why those on social media, a lot of those influencers that do that funny content, they're actually incredibly good at what they do because it's a very hard thing to do. Making someone angry, you could do like whatever these political pages, and you can get someone angry. But I mean, as a home builder, why would you want to go out there and make people angry? Some people build that on controversial topics or whatever. Sure. And then the other part is to make them cry. So, which is essentially just building connection with your audience. So I always encourage our clients from my agency is to kind of lean really heavily into you and make it emotive, and try to do something where it's authentic, where you can build a bit of a connection.
I think the connection, audience. Like I was just thinking through what I wonder what the kind of number one buying factor for someone to decide to build a house with you compared to a competitor. And I feel like it's trust and connection. Some 100%. People it's price, but for price, they're going to be more aligned with the volume builder.
Yes.
But in this space, if they're comparing me to kind of 3 or 4 other builders, it's just going to be trust and connection. And not everyone is going to align with your brand and your messaging and what you stand for. But can you build trust and connection there?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's that alignment piece, finding your people. It's kind of like that, the magic of alignment. It's like some people go to a barbecue, chat with someone, and it's just easy, chatting. You're like, man, I can chat with this guy for an hour. It's just easy. So and then you talk to someone else, and you're like, it's just like stop, start. You're not getting anywhere.
It's
awkward. It's awkward, and it's like that power of alignment. So if you could, so that's why I always kind of think is that if you can authentically put yourself out there, you are going to find those people that get you and that are in alignment with you. And they're going to come to you and they're going to go, I want you. Now let's figure out what the price is. But if you don't put yourself, if you don't lean into yourself, you don't put yourself out there, it's like dating. You don't show who you really are. Everything's just sort of vanilla. Then it's very hard to find those people because even when they come across you, they don't know if they're in alignment with you because everything's so vanilla. You know?
I think the vanilla thing is important as well, like to cut through. Like a brand has to cut through for it to have an impact. And it can't just be same as everyone else.
I think it's a very interesting one because it's not a math equation sometimes.
No, it's not. But I think you need some creative heads around it to kind of think through what is the market currently doing and how can we cut through it. I was actually just on the drive here, I was listening to one of your podcasts, someone was talking about a mood board of a brand. And like, let's say if someone, we're back on brand again, but if someone was focusing on like going through that process, if they want to elevate their brand or they want to create a new brand, how are they going to do it? I think starting with a mood board, understanding the market, understanding how everyone's positioning themselves, and then trying to come up with a creative way that we want to be this in the market and we're going to communicate it in this way and it's going to be different. It's going to feel different for this reason. Or
I think it's a very interesting, and I think it's worth. It's like one of those things where you think about it in the shower, you think about it when you're driving. You kind of like have to simmer on it a little bit as well. To kind of get it right. It's not just like chuck that logo together because obviously a logo in itself is not a brand, but it's going to be a bit more than that. But in terms of Pilgrim itself, when you started it, like how did you, apart from like obviously the way you brand yourself, like how did you guys want it to be different?
So like I was saying before, I saw a real gap in the Brisbane market for providing elevated design, luxury homes at some level of scale. I never wanted to just build kind of 2 or 3. Vision is to do numbers and have a significant impact on the market and on people's lives. Yeah, so right from the start, I've set the business up in that way, like we're going to scale. So the systems, like invested heavily in getting the system sorted, building the right team, building the strong brand, and getting ourselves out there and getting going. But at the time, there wasn't many luxury builders in Brisbane. Like there might be 2 or 3 that you could think of that had a decent brand that was cutting through in the market. And yeah, just went about it.
Yeah, it's with the brand itself. Like, I was just like thinking about something and just slipped my mind. I was just thinking of a follow up question. What you're saying on having that design element. Oh, this is what I was going to ask around the scaling element.
Yes,
because you knew you were going to scale. It meant that you had to systemize everything.
Yes.
Did that like slow things down at the start dramatically, kind of knowing that we're going to have to systemize all this. We're going to have to grow very slow now in order to grow faster later, or no?
No, I hate doing things slow. Which is why I'm saying, like, the other principle I work off is bite off more than you can chew, and chew bloody hard.
Right.
So the result of that is the like, I think our first year we built 2 homes. Second year we built 5, 7. This year we'll do 15. There's not many custom luxury builders doing 15 homes a year. So that, like, right now we've got 9 jobs on site with an average contract value of 1.6. It's only systems that can do that. But the growth pains of growing a business are very, very challenging through COVID. So to answer your question, one of the things I encourage people a lot on is systems are critical and planning is critical and all of that. But the first thing you need to do is sell. You need to get revenue coming in the door, and then you need to back yourself to get the team and the systems in place to deliver it. A lot of people will spend a long time on planning and business planning and how they're going to do this and that. You just need to get momentum and get it happening, because that's where all the learning comes, is in solving the problems and doing it, and then you tweak it as you go. So foundational systems is Builder-Trend. We run data build for estimating. We have a system called Therefore, which integrates data build with Xero. Dealing with the volume of invoices that we receive, we might receive 150 invoices a week. So tracking that against purchase orders is very challenging to do. Yeah. It's nearly a full-time role for someone. So like all of those systems, but they've evolved over time. But definitely you want to get momentum cranking early.
A quick shout out to Forte supporting today's episode. They work across flooring, wall surfaces, exteriors, and more. But what sets them apart is how their timber performs over time. Forte is trusted by architects, designers, and builders, not just for their materials, but for the way they support projects from vision to completion. It's about enriching connections and creating something built to last. Learn more at forte.co.nz. Talent. How do you attract good talent then? Because you need a lot of people to make this happen. And also, like, do they hate you when you grow so fast, or do they?
Yeah. Some people won't be with you forever. Yeah. If you're growing fast, for sure. Some people aren't necessarily aligned with the vision and the values of the business. But attracting good talent is, I think, having a healthy culture. And I don't have an amazing track record of recruiting. Like, if I find, like, to interview someone and get a vibe for how good they are, how good of a fit they are is a very challenging thing to do, to be accurate on. Yeah. So for me, I've had to hire people and as quickly as possible assess whether they're the right fit for the values and where the company's going. So get someone on board, run them through put them through their strides, and then if they're not the right person, you have to be okay to move them on. Yeah. And then over time, like, I think it took me 3 years to get the right construction manager, and there would have been 5 or 6 people before him that, I worked out that they're not the right fit. But I think having high standards and having the right values and them being capable and the right attitude, resilient attitude, problem-solving attitude,
And with the team, like, how do you sort of keep that culture positive? Did it sort of affect the culture a little bit when you had to let go of like eight people or something?
The Carpenters?
Yeah.
That wasn't an easy thing to do. And I found that quite difficult to do because, they've trusted me and come on board with the vision of Pilgrim. But at the end of the day on that one, we worked through the numbers and I think we were losing about $130,000 a year through having our own carpenters compared to doing that on a fixed price subcontract to external carpenters.
Yeah.
So that became a decision of, well, it's about the bigger vision and we're a part of something much bigger than we just can't sustain it. So that's a call that we had to make. Difficult to do, protect the culture by pointing to the bigger picture and taking people on the journey as to why we've made this decision. It takes courage. Courage. That's one of the things I'm really kind of working, like processing at the moment, is to run a business. You got to be courageous, and sometimes that courage looks like really hard conversations or really hard decisions to make. At the end of the day, there's a bunch of carpentry work out there, so the boys will be fine.
Yeah. We were talking about this the other day with the team. We went for a few beers. Boys on tour at the moment, and we had like one beer and we fall asleep. But around, someone said once, and I definitely relate to that. They said, your ability to be to do well in business will be determined on your ability to receive and give bad news.
Sure.
And if you're able to receive or give bad news, and you can do that, without your voice cracking, then that will really help you in business.
Sure.
So I thought that was actually really good.
That's good. I like that. So why receive bad news?
Also receive bad news in the sense of like, someone goes, you did a shit job at building my home, or they cancel, or they just the bank came through and said we can't get funding for this project. Sorry, we're not. I know you were starting on Tuesday, but we can't go ahead. To be able to deal with that, figure out what the next step is, and just push forward, not get too stuck on those things. Yeah. I guess that's the received bad news as well.
It's good. It's literally just a series of problem solving, I reckon. I reckon that's, if you boil it all down, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You're just a professional problem solver every day. Yeah. And sometimes they're little problems, but a lot of the time they're big problems.
That's a nice way of saying it. Some people say problem solving, other people say getting punched in the face.
Yeah, I've heard that over and over.
Way, problem solving is probably the more like logical way to kind of put it, you know what I mean? What, in terms of your business, back end numbers, you're the business guy.
Yep.
What numbers are really important to you to ensure your business is on track? Like when is it about looking at your overheads? Is it looking about your labor costs, net profit? Like what are the numbers that you look at specifically that kind of constantly check if things are tracking? Yeah.
So I look at a building company like a sausage factory or whatever, however you want to phrase that. But essentially the first start is leads that are generated. So everything, the workflow of the entire business starts there. And then we track it through the business. After leads comes sales appointments. After sales appointments becomes design agreements. After design, when we run a design and construct model, design agreements turn into contracts. Contracts turn into site starts. Site starts, you build a house on time, and you're building enough houses. That's how we ensure the business is profitable overall. Probably one of the biggest challenges that people have is managing overheads and workflow in a building company. So for me, to answer your question, revenue is obviously important, but revenue in building is very hard to influence quickly. Revenue in building starts with getting jobs to site, and you get jobs to site through generating leads.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it, like it's an overall sausage factory or just a big engine system that's churning through. The other numbers I'm conscious of. So revenue is based on claims. So we're tracking, forecasting claims all the time, up to 12 months out, based on when our jobs are starting and how our schedules are running. We run custom new home building. So generally there's about 7 claims, and we can forecast relatively accurately where those claims are going to fall, but we're also updating that every week. That's based on our schedules that are from Builder Trend. From there, we're tracking how long our builds are taking, so making sure that we're hitting our claim dates, tracking that side of it. The other big thing which that results in is cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold for me is essentially the measure of whether the engine is running at capacity or not. So our overheads every month are pretty similar. They're going to change by 10 or 15,000 depending on the month and what's happening. But we're tracking that, but then tracking the cost of goods sold, how much the engine is producing. One of the biggest challenges in new home building is the disconnect between revenue when the money's coming in and when the work's actually being completed. And the biggest thing I think builders struggle with is understanding that there is a genuine disconnection there, and the basic methods of accounting being revenue minus costs of goods sold minus your fixed expenses equals net profit is absolutely rubbish and so dangerous in new home building. And that's because there's this concept of other people's money or your WIP, where the money that comes in isn't your money.
Yeah.
That money needs to be used to potentially fund future work, or it may be funding past work, but just being really accurate on where your WIP is at, where your other people's money is at, and tracking that, because that's genuinely the number. One of the things with building companies is they go broke slowly, especially a custom building company who's really front loaded on getting cash into the business.
Yeah. So is it a bad thing to pay for future projects with money coming in from another project? Is it, because sometimes it's a bit like running a Ponzi scheme within your accounts, right?
It can be. It can be if you're not careful. And this is why builders go broke. Genuinely, like there was another builder in Brisbane that went broke 2 weeks ago, and it's just devastating. But it's good. It's because accounting in building is really complex. Like it's really hard to understand. Is it a bad thing? No. Builders are always going to have months they're profitable and not profitable. I was talking to a builder the other day who runs a large building, really great building company in Brisbane, and he was joking that he reckons it took him 10 years to get profitable.
Yeah. He was constantly just Ponzi scheming.
Well, potentially. And especially if you're scaling. Yeah. Because your overheads, your overheads can get up there pretty quickly, and you got money coming in, so you think you're making profit. I feel like someone else was talking about this on your podcast as well. Like people out there, they've got massive, cash in the bank, and they're buying the cars and the boats and whatever. Meanwhile, their company's going broke slowly. Yeah. So no, it's not a bad thing as long as you're on top of the numbers and you have a path to profitability. I think that's fine. But if you're not onto it, then yeah, it's definitely a dangerous place to be.
To add to that, what do you think are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen other builders make?
That's a good question. I think being on top of your workflow, as in job starts consistently. I think being on top of your construction timelines, how long your builds are taking. What other mistakes? I don't really pay too much attention to other builders from that perspective.
Do you have like a bit of a POV on what the differences are between, because you see builders that like do well, they kind of come through. Yeah. Some grow slower, some grow faster, but they come through and you over a period of time, over a decade, like they grow and they grow and they grow and they run like a really good operation. They run a really good business. They make good money and their projects just get better. And then you have some other builders who you just check in with them 3-4 years later and they're sort of exactly where they were last time. What do you think is the difference?
Systems. So it has to be systems and the right team and the owner being willing to make the hard calls, make the hard decisions. And but it all comes back to systems, in my opinion. And
do you have any advice on like how to structure the process of setting your systems up? Do you have what software do you guys use? Do you how do you document everything? How do you track everything? Is it any sort of basic elements of advice you could give to guys looking to bring more systems into their business?
Yeah, I think that my advice would be you have to start somewhere. If you look at your business overall and understand how systemized is it currently. I think building is such a complex process. Like, I think it's over 1,500 different items it takes to build a custom home, right? So that's 1,500 items that we need to quote. We need to like when we're going to tender, we have to make sure that's accurate. We need to schedule the job out and get that stuff to site all at the right time, as well as we're dealing with 60 different trades and suppliers, vendors, subcontractors. So all of that schedule, like for that to run tight, because building is so complex, and most clients will never understand this, and that's fine, but it has to be systemized. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're always chasing your tail. You're never actually getting anywhere. Every time you face a problem, it feels like it's the first time you face that problem. So where I would start is looking at your business overall. So zooming out, looking at the process from end to end, understanding how the different tasks that have to happen relate to each other, and then setting up a schedule. So that schedule, Builder-Trend's great. There's a whole bunch of other software out there, but scheduling it, you can schedule the end-to-end process from start to finish. And by doing that, you're going to get a really good understanding of how systemized your business is. And then from there, just slowly digging into it. And whether it's we have a construction specification schedule. So that details, it's like a 15-page document that details every single door handle, every single tap, every single light, the tile color, the tile lay, the grout color, all of that type of thing. That's something we implemented because we realized the guys on site don't have the data they need to ensure a consistent product for our clients.
Yeah.
Your master schedule on your build, how do you build a home, your plan set, your checklist on your plan set. So we've got 4 different stages of plan checks that we do to ensure when our boys get the plans on site, it's going to be accurate and detailed to the level they need it to. Otherwise, you can never hit your KPIs. Like, you can never ask your team to build a house at a high quality in a certain time period without them having the right data to do that.
Yeah.
That's just some examples, but even your purchase orders, like getting your purchase orders sorted out. If there's builders out there running without purchase orders, there's no way you're ever going to be able to control your building costs. So you might think you're selling a house at a high margin, but then at the end of it, you think, hang on, we didn't make much money out of that. It's because you don't have purchase orders and prices locked in place.
Yeah. Those are good examples, And like you say, the best thing is to start somewhere. Like do like almost like a bird's eye view of the whole thing, and then dig into each of those elements. That's right. Checklists are everything. It sounds basic, but even like throughout our process for building a custom home, we'll have 8 different checkpoints that are fully checklisted, audits on the job. So there's frame audit, there's pre-plaster audit, there's rough-in audits. So all of those things, that's how you ensure a consistent quality product. Yeah. Yeah. That's very good. I love that. In terms of obviously you've grown fast. I assume you've made some mistakes. I assume you've missed a few things here and there. What was sort of has there been any examples of like a big hit you've taken on a project, like financial hit?
Yeah. I think it's important. We, like I said before, we started during COVID, which was the hardest time for builders ever in the history of building in Australia. So that was a really challenging time to work through. I think on our first 8 jobs, we lost an average of $50,000. So if you
have a calculator handy.
What were you talking about, Ponzi scheme? We traded through that, but that was a tough time, man. That was challenging. I won't talk through the numbers because some of my past clients may listen. But mate. We flew close to the sun there. Oh my goodness, that was a very stressful time. So what was the question? Mistakes.
Yeah, like I guess what I want to say is, what's the most money you've lost on a project is essentially what I want to know.
Well, let me put this in perspective. We did property development at the start as well, and that has been good. But I've found a lot of builders will want to kind of do their own speckies and do client builds as well. I have found the development side of it is probably more of a distraction than it is beneficial during the first few years of getting going. And it's because running a successful development business is a completely different business model to running a successful client-facing business. So that's one thing. But because of the developments, and numbers are funny, so take it with a grain of salt. But in our first year of business, we made just over $1 million profit.
Yeah.
In our second year of business, we lost about $1.3 million.
Okay.
So
that's the other way.
That's the other way. Yes. So that was obviously very challenging times, and that was because of COVID. Our build times were just crazy. Getting materials to site. It was just all very challenging. Dealing with clients, that was, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is how to deal with clients. And clients can be really challenging, especially if they're building a high-end home. This is a really important part of their life. And they place so much importance on this, and they are trusting us to do the right thing, which is build them a beautiful home, give them a great experience, do what we say we're going to do. But because building is so complex, it's not always possible to do that, right? Even if you do your absolute best.
Yeah. I mean, that's just business in general, is that like sometimes just like with the purest intentions, with the best systems, like shit can still go wrong.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. So stuff will go wrong. How you handle it, I wasn't particularly good at handling it during the early days.
Yeah.
I would kind of duck and weave and not face up to it and kind of not get back to clients. And it just erodes trust, right? It erodes their certainty in the process. And so I found that a really difficult growth process to go through. Now my thing is you just have to hit it head on, whatever the challenge is. Everyone understands that challenges happen. There's a few people that maybe don't understand it. But you just have to hit it head on. If you have client challenges, you have to go straight for it. You have to meet with them face to face, and you have to help them understand that this is a real problem, and understand that you're focused on it and there's a path forward.
Yeah. And how have you now, since you've gone through that whole process? Because obviously it's evolving, right? I'm going to catch up with you 10 years from now. You're going to say, "Oh, I was actually real. Last time I talked to you, I was actually real crap at that. I thought it was, but now I'm way better." So we're all going to get better every time.
Yeah.
But how have you learned to deal with clients in terms of setting clear boundaries, making sure that it's healthy, how they interact with you, how you interact with them?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the tactics I'll use, so let's say a client is frustrated by a certain challenge, the timeline's blown out.
Yeah.
And there's a job I'm working on at the moment. I have that specific problem. There was two things that we couldn't have foreseen: a stuff up from a surveyor and something to do with Energex. And the job's been held up by about 8 weeks. Despite our best efforts, that was always going to happen. Client's frustrated. Our team haven't communicated as well as they could have. So literally yesterday, I go and meet him on site. My first step is to understand, hear him out. So there's 20 or 30 minutes of him talking about the frustrations, and at that stage, you're just empathizing. Then the question I ask is, okay, if we could communicate to the absolute level which is going to blow you away, what does that look like? And they'll say something like, phone call every week, this. My response then is, okay, I can't commit to that, but what I can commit to is something. And it'll generally be about 20% of what they're asking. But just being there, showing up, looking at them in the eye and giving them your commitment that you're focused on it and you're doing something, that is generally enough, and they'll be understanding. It's enough to give them comfort.
Yeah.
So the point there is don't overcommit. In fact, undercommit and just make sure that you nail whatever that is you said you're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really good, eh? And then that bit at the start of empathizing with them, hearing them out. It's like, I understand, just like, yeah, I completely understand. I would be so frustrated if this happened as well. I
That's
completely get it.
That's right. No defensive.
Yeah,
there is nothing defensive in that. You're just hearing them out, but then being firm on, we can't do everything that you want. What we can do is this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard like this is like not really on topic, but a little bit about. I saw this guy who he did this in sales where he would like he's got this technique where he would like if they're not happy he would like triple down on their anger. So and that's his technique. So like they'll be like, this is like overtaking that your team's like taking 10 weeks longer, and he'd be like, what?
Yeah.
10 weeks.
So
and then he's like, that is absolutely. When I get back to the office, I'm so angry right now. And he would just like triple down, and then that will calm them down because he's tripled like how angry they are. Yeah. And he's like, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm going to get on. Like, wait till I get to the office. They're going to hear from me, you know, and then.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good, you know, that's another technique. I don't know how authentic that's going to always come across, but it's a tactic.
I think letting them know that what's happened is not, it's not acceptable. Yeah. Like it's not at the standard that you want to run your business.
Yeah. I saw that you guys had the Pilgrim Foundation.
Yeah.
What is that?
So it's definitely still in preliminary stages, but a big part of our why behind Pilgrim is to have a positive impact. So it's not just about building fancy homes for wealthy people. It's having a genuine impact long term on people's lives. So that comes to the team and to our clients and everyone who interacts with us. We want it to be a positive experience, and it's not just about making money, because that's not that fulfilling. So anyway, the foundation part of it is long term. Our vision is to build 100 houses for people in need. So we're working on our first 3 houses at the moment in Cambodia, and the idea is home provides safety. Home provides a place where people can dream and have a vision for their future. Without safe housing, it's really hard for people to have any of those foundations and dreams. And we're so fortunate here in Australia. So we're just about to, I think early next year, January, we're going to start those houses, and they're not massive houses, but they provide provide shelter for people. So they're going to take about 3 months to build. So we'll be 3% of the way there. And we're just going to keep plugging away at that. And it's something that's important to us. Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks, man.
That's cool, because you're kind of like putting a roof over people's heads over here, but also doing the same then over there. That's people that are more in need.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's a really cool thing, eh? In terms of running this business, and it sounds like you've got your head screwed on and you kind of come from the business side, so you can kind of understand a lot of these elements of running a business. But when things don't always go to plan, it can be sometimes tough in terms of mindset, right? Keeping your head in the game. And some days you wake up and you go, oh, this is just problem solving. This is all this. And other days you want to like run through a wall or something.
Yeah.
How do you keep your head in the game? How do you keep your mind from not, spinning out sometimes? Because, our minds can sometimes go like a million miles a second, and it can just go like negative, and before you know it, you're just like in fetal position in the shower or something. Yeah. Well, how do you keep your mind in the game?
Yeah. I want to be clear for it sounds like we've got it all together and got it all worked out, but business is not like that. And behind the scenes, it's challenging. Running a business, I think, for anyone, like we said, like getting punched in the face every single day repeatedly. So we've had some really challenging times, and there's definitely been times where it's taken a toll on me and my family, and as we've grown through it. I think it gets easier as time goes on, as you have momentum and as you have team to carry the pressure with you. How I face it, number one is failure is not an option, which is the whole burn the ships mentality, that there is no way we're not going to get through this. The other thing I talk about a bit is tell me a problem that you haven't been able to solve. And right now you might have a problem that you're facing and it seems impossible, but ultimately if you look back, like for you, think about a problem you haven't been able to solve, you can't think of one, right? Like you get through it. You get through this. Like whatever the hard thing is you're facing, you're going to get through it. What you're missing at that point is certainty. So I was reading some kind of brain study on the brain. I can't remember who did it. Might have been Huberman podcast or something, but the number one thing the human brain craves is certainty. So if you're feeling a level of stress or you're feeling anxiety or you don't know the path forward, it's because you don't have certainty and your brain needs it. So the next question is, how do you get certainty? It's impossible. The thing you're facing, it's, there's no way through it. From there, it's about coming up with options that are potential solutions to get you through whatever you're currently facing, knowing that you've never been able to not solve a problem. So you're going to get through it. You whatever it is, however big it is, you're going to find a path through it. Steady yourself, find solutions, find certainty, push on different doors. The other part of it is, I mentioned the word courage before. I think business owners have to be very courageous people. And that's not always easy. In fact, it's pretty bloody hard. But there's so many people that are relying on us to find solutions to whatever this problem is and to keep going and to be the strong one. And as business owners, we have to have broad shoulders. There's just pressure all the time. But you have to be courageous in the face of the problems. And you can't have a victim mentality. You're not entitled to not go through these problems. Whatever you're facing is because of actions and decisions you've made, right? So you decided to start the business. You decided to create the opportunity. You decided to promise to that client you're going to be able to do it. So it's on you. And integrity looks like you got to be courageous. Put your shoulders back and let's go.
I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up right now.
Are we pumped?
I'm pumped up. I'm just like, let's go.
But I need to preface that all of that with it is not easy, and you got to look after yourself. You got to look after your mental health. You got to make sure you're exercising, you're eating well, doing all those things. Don't drink too much. It's all the basics, but this stuff's important. You can't go through this mental health journey if you don't have that stuff in place.
Yeah. What's your relationship with stress? So do you think stress is a necessity and you just got to manage it? Do you think it's bad? What do you think?
Stress comes from lacking certainty, comes from fear. Comes from not being able to see a path forward. Is it bad? No, it's not bad. I think that stress reflex is something that we as humans were built with intentionally, which is a warning to be aware. But I think you got to learn to cope with it. As a business owner, you have to, if you don't like stress, don't get into business.
That's pretty, I think that's...
It's not bad, but if you're redlining for too long, then it's unhealthy and you need to either pull back or do some work. I think I've got a business coach who I've always had coaches or mentors around me to help guide through that. So having people in your life and mates and peers, and we spoke about relationships with other builders and all that, but having people you can genuinely talk to and be open with.
So you've always had mentors. That's really good.
Yeah.
So just general construction, business, or just general business mentors to help you with the business side.
So even when I first started Pilgrim, all mentors, whether they're good mates or business guys or business coach, or whether it's a therapist or a psychologist or something.
Yeah.
Even when I first started Pilgrim, I reached out to 3 or 4 of the builders that I would benchmark and just asked if I could catch up with them. And that has developed now into, I catch up with those guys at least once a quarter. And now I've kind of become a bit of a peer to them. But I think all of those relationships are massive.
Yeah. How do you, to just change direction a little bit, how do you manage, you got 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
How old are your kids?
Oldest is 9, youngest is 3.
Cool.
Yeah, it's hectic.
Quite hectic, eh?
Yeah, it's fun.
Kind of similar to mine. I've got 4.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest is 6. My youngest is 1. So it's
wow.
Very similar.
Yeah, you're in the thick of it.
Yeah, I'm right in there.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Not a lot of people know what I'm going through.
Yeah, I know it, mate.
But you do.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
How do you navigate business life and family life?
Yeah.
Has there been any sort of practical things that's really helped you navigate that?
I think practically my wife is very gracious, and I work a lot and I work very hard. But also being present whenever I'm at home and doing whatever I can to make sure that these kids understand that they're absolutely a priority for me. But for our family structure, my wife carries probably 80% of the home life, and gets pretty minimal for me. I think I take the bins out and do some of that stuff. But apart from that, I'm
pretty much the same. I was like, I haven't touched like a washing machine. Or
I'm not much use.
Yeah,
not much use with that stuff. So I think that's one thing that's very important for people starting a business is that it is a partnership, not necessarily a partnership with someone external, but it's a partnership with you and your life partner. Yeah. And making sure that you're both on board and aligned with where it's going, because you need that in order to do it if you've got a family. I think about people that don't have families and they're starting a business, and I think if I did that, I'd work 100 hours a week. I reckon you could just be so dynamic with.
I know, I get my motivation at like about 4 p.m., 5 p.m. in the afternoon. I start hitting like a bit of momentum.
Yep.
And I can easily go to like 8:30, 9 o'clock or something, just like that period. Get a lot done. But obviously, just as the momentum hits, you got to get home.
Yeah, it's crazy hour. Yeah. I will generally be out the door at 6:30 or 7 and back in the door at 6:30 most days. Yeah. But when I'm home, that kind of hour and a half, I'm there with the kids. I'm present. Phone's not there. I'm reading books with them. I'm having dinner with them. We're laughing, like all of that stuff. That's really important. And then for me, Saturdays and Sundays are really important. That's family time. Every now and again, I'll have to work on the weekend, but I try and minimize that. But just really try and kind of invest and be present there when I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I guess I always like to ask, where you at right now? What is success to you now?
That's a great question. What is success? I think success for me is doing my best every day. I've learnt not to measure it based on, I haven't found hitting milestones very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you hit this revenue target, or you do this, or you build this nice house and sell it for a crazy profit or whatever. That stuff is very fleeting. Even like the accolades or all of that stuff, anything external, I don't find it that fulfilling. So for me, it's the question of have I been courageous? Have I acted with integrity? Have I worked my absolute butt off every day? Have I done my best? If the answer to that's yes, then that's successful. The other thing I think through is that, and this is part of kind of why we're called Pilgrim, is that life's a journey, and journey is full of ups and downs, and we're not entitled to the mountaintops unless we go through the valleys. And the richness of life is actually in both of them. So it's when you're getting the high fives and you're getting the wins, and also when you're going through the valleys. This is all part of life, and it will absolutely happen. And that's the richness of it. So because of that, success doesn't look like going from win to win to win. It can't. You will absolutely be robbed of any mental health or whatever if you think that's what you're entitled to.
I love that, man. And that's such a great way to like put a little bow on it, finish it right up. I think, this has been great. I'm loving it. You're just like just hyping me up with all this stuff. But I think it's good. It's like business is hard. Like you say, you're not entitled to just get the benefit. You have to go through the valleys, and I think that's super. It's a good reminder. So thanks for coming on.
It's good, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, bud.
That's it for today's episode, and thanks again to Forte for making this week's episode possible. If you're after timber surfaces that don't just look beautiful but are built to endure, Forte is leading the way with a focus on sustainability and craftsmanship and unparalleled performance. They're helping bring ambitious projects to life across interiors and exteriors.